They say money changes people. But I thought it'd bring us closer. My name's Ryan Hayes. I'm 38 years old, and just 8 months ago, my life changed almost overnight. After 8 years of grinding, pitching, and building a niche logistics software company out of my garage, I signed a deal with one of the biggest names in the shipping industry. The kind of deal that puts more zeros in your bank account than you ever expected to see in your life. I remember sitting across from my wife, Claire, at our favorite Italian place, hands still shaking from the wire confirmation. I told her we were officially set for life. We laughed, we drank too much wine, and that night she said we should finally start planning that trip to Greece we always talked about. She looked so proud. At least, that's what I thought at the time. Claire and I had been married 8 years. No kids yet, though we'd tried. Life kept throwing curveballs. Miscarriage in year 4, then work got crazy for both of us. She was a nurse, always tired, always giving more of herself than she had left. I admired her for that. I loved her for that. We weren't perfect, but I never doubted her. Not once. But looking back now, man, there were signs. I just didn't see him. Or maybe I didn't want to. See, right after the money came in, things started to shift. At first, it was subtle. Claire started working out more. Bought new clothes. Stuff she normally wouldn't even glance at. She said she just wanted to feel good in her own skin again. I've spent years in scrubs and Crocs, she joked. Let me have this. And of course, I supported her. I loved seeing her smile again. Thought maybe we were just entering a new chapter, better versions of ourselves. But then she started going out more. Girls' nights that I wasn't invited to. Work dinners that seemed oddly frequent for a hospital nurse. Late night showers. Phone always face down. And the way she looked at me, like she was constantly somewhere else. Still, I chalked it up to stress. We'd just come into money. She probably felt pressure too. I didn't push. Until the night everything changed. It was a Friday. I'd come home early from a meeting in Chicago, surprised her. I walked in around 6:30 p.m., and the house was empty. Her car was gone. Not unusual on its own, but she hadn't mentioned any plans. I called. No answer. Texted. Nothing. So I waited. An hour passed. Then at 9:41 p.m., I got a text. Hey, sorry babe, with the girls. Might sleep at Mel's. Long story. Love you. I just stared at it. Something about the wording. The rushed tone. The might sleep at Mel's. Not even a check-in, just a soft brush off. I don't know what made me do it, but I opened up the Find My iPhone app. She had me on her shared list. Always said it was for emergencies. Mel lived downtown, but Claire's phone wasn't anywhere near downtown. It was in the suburbs. A residential address I didn't recognize. I copied it into Google Maps, and my stomach dropped. It belonged to a man named Ethan Warner. Ethan was an orthopedic surgeon. Tall, fit, well-dressed, and Claire's coworker. She'd mentioned him once or twice in passing, mostly to say how arrogant he was. And now she was parked at his house. On a Friday night, telling me she was with the girls. I stared at the blue dot on the screen until my hand started shaking. I wanted to believe it wasn't what it looked like. But it was exactly what it looked like. I didn't sleep that night. I just sat there in the dark living room, staring at the front door like a ghost might walk through it. Around 1:17 a.m., I heard her car pull into the driveway. She came in quietly, shoes in hand, slipping them off by the door. When she saw me sitting there, she froze. Jesus, Ryan, you scared me, she said, setting her bag down. You said you were with Mel. She blinked, only for a second, but it told me everything. That tiny pause, that moment her brain had to catch up and piece together a lie. Oh, I was, she said quickly. We went over to a friend's after. Her friend. A few people from work were there. I didn't say anything, just looked at her. She kept going. We had wine, just lost track of time. Didn't want to drive. So why were you at Ethan Warner's house? That hit her like a slap. Her eyes shifted slightly. The pause this time was longer. How do you know that? You're still on my location sharing. She looked away, jaw clenched. Jesus, Ryan, that's not cool. I almost laughed. That's what you're focused on. She crossed her arms. We weren't doing anything. He's going through a divorce. We were just talking. You know how stressful work's been. Until almost 2 in the morning? At his house? While lying to me about being with Mel? She didn't answer that. Instead, she looked down and muttered, "I didn't want to fight." That's when I knew. She wasn't even denying it. Just deflecting, spinning. She wasn't sorry. She was sorry, I found out. I didn't yell. I didn't accuse her. I just stood up, walked past her, and went to bed. I couldn't even look at her anymore. The smell of unfamiliar cologne on her clothes made my chest tight. She didn't follow me. She slept in the guest room. The next morning, she acted like nothing happened. Made coffee. Asked if I wanted eggs. I didn't answer. I just sat at the kitchen table, staring at the steam rising from my mug. That's when I made a decision. I wasn't going to confront her again. I wasn't going to ask questions. I wasn't going to beg for the truth. I was going to get proof. Quietly, thoroughly. If she wanted to play me for a fool, I'd play the fool. But I'd be a fool with a plan. That night, while she was in the shower, I slipped her phone from her purse. Took pictures of her passcode being typed in earlier, so I unlocked it easily. Messages were mostly clean. Almost too clean. No threads with Ethan. A few vague texts to Mel, but nothing solid. I checked the deleted folder, also empty. She'd scrubbed it. She knew what she was doing. But one thing she hadn't done was turn off iCloud. I logged into her Apple account from my laptop using the credentials I guessed, our wedding date. Pathetic, right? That's how I got in. And just like that, I had access to her backups. Text logs, app usage, call history, and photos. So many photos. Some of them were selfies. Innocent at first. Mirror shots at work, in her car, new outfits I'd never seen in person. Then came the private ones. Lingerie, hotel room selfies, her with someone's hand around her waist. Not mine. There were timestamps, too. They lined up with the exact dates I was out of town. Business trips she'd once kissed me goodbye for, told me to be safe. It had been going on for months. That night, I sat there at my desk and cried like a child. My stomach hurt. My hands shook. I couldn't believe the person I loved had been building a second life behind my back. But underneath the pain, something else stirred. A coldness I hadn't felt before. If she wanted out, she should have asked. But she stayed. She lied. She smiled in my face while selling pieces of our life to another man. So I decided right then, if she thought she could cheat her way into my future, she was dead wrong. She had no idea what I was planning. But by the time I was done, she'd regret ever crossing the man who made her rich. I didn't eat much that week. I'd sit at the kitchen table, pretending to scroll through emails or take work calls, while Claire moved around like everything was fine. Like she hadn't shattered something she couldn't put back together. She was careful, polite, almost too perfect, made dinner, folded laundry, even suggested a weekend getaway, said we'd been drifting lately. It was surreal, watching her play the role of the loving wife while I knew exactly what she was doing behind my back. But I played along, told her I needed to stay focused on work, that the new contract meant late nights and travel. She nodded like she understood, told me she was proud of me. Proud, it made my skin crawl. Meanwhile, every night after she went to bed, I sat at my laptop gathering everything. The iCloud backups were a goldmine. Photos, call logs, location data, even shared notes. One was a packing list for a conference trip she'd taken in July. Lingerie, candles, massage oil. She told me it was a continuing education retreat. It was a weekend with Ethan. I started saving everything, built a timeline, took screenshots, saved call records. I even made a spreadsheet, day, time, excuse, real location. Cross-referenced it with her calendar, her texts, her receipts. It felt cold, robotic, but I had to shut my feelings off. Because this wasn't just about betrayal anymore. It was about justice. The prenup we signed 8 years ago had a clause in it, something I almost forgot about. At the time, it felt unnecessary. We were young, broke, and in love. Claire insisted she'd sign whatever I wanted. So the clause was simple. If infidelity was proven, the guilty party forfeited any claim to marital assets beyond a basic split. She'd get what we built together, not what came after. The millions in my account from the sale of the company? Off the table. But here's the catch. The clause required proof. Real, legal-grade proof. And I couldn't just hand over a folder of screenshots. So I hired someone. A guy named Mason, former military, now a private investigator. I told him I didn't want drama, I wanted precision. Discretion. I wanted to know when, where, how often, and who else knew. He nodded and said, "We'll get everything." He set up cameras in my house the next time Claire went to a weekend training. Bedroom, entryway, her car. I felt sick doing it, but she made me cross that line. A week later, I got a ping from Mason. He'd followed her to a boutique hotel downtown. Not one she'd normally pick. A quiet place, upscale, private. She was with Ethan. They checked in under a fake name, but he got photos. Clear ones. Them kissing in the lobby. Her in his lap at the bar. Her wearing the same dress I found in the dry cleaning she claimed was for a work gala. I stared at the photos for a long time. Not because I was shocked. I wasn't anymore. It was because of how happy she looked. Relaxed, smiling, like she didn't have a husband at home. That night, while she was in the shower, I opened her laptop. She'd stayed logged into her email. I clicked into the drafts folder. She'd written Ethan a message. "You make me feel like I'm 20 again. Sometimes I think about just leaving it all and starting fresh with you. But it's complicated. He's done nothing wrong. I just don't love him the same. I don't think I have for a while." It wasn't even sent, just saved, but it was the most honest thing she'd written in months. She was right about one thing. I hadn't done anything wrong. But I would, because now, I had everything I needed. The next move? Quiet, clean, legal. I'd give her everything she wanted. Freedom, Ethan. But by the time I was done, she'd be walking away with nothing but her bags. I didn't storm out. I didn't throw accusations. I didn't even raise my voice. That's what made it all work. Claire still thought I didn't know. That was the key. While she slept next to me each night, thinking she was living a double life undetected, I was quietly working with my attorney, Amanda Lynn, a sharp, calculating woman who didn't ask how I felt, only what I wanted. "I want to keep everything," I said, "and I want her to walk out thinking she played me, right up until the moment the papers hit the table." Amanda didn't blink. "Then we need more than just photos. We need a full narrative. Timeline. Third-party verification. The clause only works if a judge believes it without room for sympathy." So Mason kept digging. Over 2 more weeks, he tracked 4 additional meetings with Ethan. One was at our gym. One was a quick coffee near her hospital. Another was lunch on a Tuesday, right after she'd left the house in scrubs claiming she had a shift. She didn't. She even took off her wedding ring at lunch. It was in the pictures. Left hand bare. She was all in. Amanda sent a forensic tech to image her laptop and phone. Everything was done remotely. Quiet. Legal. I didn't even have to touch it. Within hours, they had encrypted backups of her messages, deleted photo caches, even browser history. And then the last piece fell into place. Claire made a mistake. A big one. She took $12,000 out of our joint account and transferred it to a new card. When I asked her about it, she shrugged and said, "It's just for my own budgeting." "You've got your business money. I wanted to keep a little set aside." I nodded. Makes sense. What she didn't know was that she'd just given me financial grounds for the second clause in our prenup. Hidden assets or unauthorized transfers void her rights to any future earnings, including spousal support. 2 strikes. Amanda smiled when she saw the records. "You're not just going to win this divorce," she said. "You're going to bury her." But I wasn't ready to pull the trigger yet. Because I needed her comfortable. I needed her to think she'd gotten away with it. So I agreed to the weekend getaway she'd suggested earlier, a cabin up north. She looked genuinely excited when I said yes. Booked it the same day. She even bought new clothes for the trip. I watched her try on outfits in our bedroom mirror. Spinning, smiling, asking what looked better on her. I told her she looked beautiful. And I meant it. That was the hardest part. Because I still loved her, in a way I hated myself for. I loved who she used to be. Who we were. The life we could have had. But now I had to put that version of her to rest. The night before the trip, I stood in our closet, looking at the box on the top shelf. Inside was a photo album she'd made for our 5-year anniversary. Notes. Memories, dumb jokes we'd written to each other in the margins. I closed the lid, put the box back. When I turned around, she was watching me from the doorway. "What are you doing?" she asked, smiling. "Just packing," I said. "It's gonna be a good weekend." She came over, kissed my cheek, and whispered, "I love you." And I said it back. Because sometimes, revenge takes patience. And the best lies are the ones that sound like the truth. We left Friday afternoon. The cabin was about 3 hours north, secluded, beautiful, surrounded by trees just beginning to turn for fall. Claire had picked it out herself. Said she wanted a reset. Fresh air, a fireplace, wine. A little reconnection. She played the part perfectly. In the car, she laughed at my dumb jokes. Took pictures of the leaves. Held my hand at stoplights. And for a moment, God help me, I almost forgot what she'd done. But then her phone lit up on the dashboard. Ethan Red Heart. Don't forget to call him, babe, all weekend. Keep the act up. Love you. She didn't know I saw it. I didn't flinch, just kept driving. The act had to end. But not yet. Not until I'd taken everything back. We got to the cabin just after sunset. She walked in first, gasping at the view. "This place is perfect," she said, spinning around. "You did good saying yes to this." I smiled. "Yeah, I think it's the right place for us." Dinner was quiet. Candlelight. She opened a bottle of red and toasted to New Chapters. To her credit, she seemed like she meant it. Maybe in her head, she had it all figured out. Milk the marriage for a while, secure some cash, then find a way to slide into a new life with Ethan once things felt natural. She didn't realize she was already losing. After we cleaned up, she curled up on the couch with me, legs draped over mine. "You've seemed off lately," she said gently. Like, distant. I looked at her. "You ever feel like you're just living next to a stranger?" I asked. She paused. "Sometimes. But I think that's normal in long relationships. Doesn't mean you stop trying." I nodded. "You're right." She leaned in and kissed me. Slow, familiar, and I kissed her back. The next morning, I woke up before her. Stepped out onto the porch with my coffee, staring into the trees, letting the cold air clear my head. At 8:15, a black SUV pulled into the gravel drive. Claire was still asleep. Mason stepped out. I handed him the manila envelope. Inside, a copy of the prenup, the photos, the bank statements, the emails, a signed affidavit from Mason with timestamps, locations, everything. He would deliver it all to Amanda by noon. The divorce petition would be filed first thing Monday. But before that, Claire needed to know exactly what she'd done. And exactly what it would cost her. By 9:30, she was up, drinking coffee, scrolling her phone in a sweater she used to only wear on our winter trips. She looked at me across the living room. "You're quiet this morning," she said, stretching. "Something on your mind?" I sat across from her and slid a small black USB drive onto the coffee table. She stared at it. "What's that?" "Evidence," I said, "of your affair, of your lies, of everything you've been doing with Ethan since May." Her face froze. All color drained from it. She opened her mouth, but no words came out. I leaned forward, elbows on my knees. "You told him you were going to play me until the timing felt right. You said I was clueless. That I was safe and boring. You told him you'd make it clean. That he just had to wait." Her voice finally came out, hoarse and small. "Ryan, no, don't lie, not now." She looked like she might cry, but I didn't care anymore. "I gave you everything," I said. "My time, my love, my trust, and you threw it all away for a man who couldn't even meet your eyes in public." She reached out like she was going to touch my hand. I pulled it back. "I've filed," I said. "The papers are on their way. You'll get served this week." What are you talking about?" "I know about the money you moved. That was your second mistake. The prenup holds. You cheated. You lied. You violated every clause in the agreement." Her mouth hung open. "You walk away with what you had when we started. That's it. No alimony. No stake in the company. Not a penny of the buyout." Her voice broke. "You can't, Ryan. I didn't mean to. Please, let's just talk about this." "Oh, we'll talk," I said coldly. "In court." Then I stood up, grabbed my bag, walked out the door. I didn't look back. As I pulled out of the driveway, I saw her through the cabin window. Still sitting on the couch, staring at that tiny USB like it was a bomb that had just gone off. She'd been playing a game, but she never saw how far ahead I was. And now, she'd lost everything. The drive back was quiet, peaceful, even. No music, no news, Just the hum of the engine and the slow realization that everything I'd known for the past 8 years was gone. And honestly, I didn't feel broken. I felt clear. That Monday, Claire was served at work. Amanda made sure of it. Not at home, not somewhere private, but right there at the nurse's station, in front of her coworkers. I didn't ask for that part, but I didn't object either. It sent a message. She called me 5 times that night. I didn't answer. She texted 12 times. We need to talk. Please don't do this. I made a mistake. I still love you. Can we at least meet? The one that finally made me laugh came around midnight. You're acting like this is all about money. That's when I knew she didn't get it. Not even now. It was never about the money. It was about the disrespect. The betrayal. The way she looked me in the eye, kissed me goodnight, and then snuck off to warm another man's bed like it was nothing. A few days later, her sister, Mallory, called me. We'd always been close. She said Claire was falling apart, that she hadn't shown up to work in 2 days, was crying constantly, blaming herself, saying she lost everything. I stayed quiet. Mallory hesitated, then asked, "Is it true? Everything she did?" "All of it," I said. She let out a soft breath. "I'm so sorry, Ryan. You didn't deserve that." I thanked her. Then I hung up. Over the next week, Claire's life began to unravel. Ethan ghosted her. Mason confirmed it. Apparently, once the fantasy broke and reality kicked in, he bolted. He never planned to start a life with her. She was a thrill, a distraction, an ego boost. Now she was just baggage. Her friends pulled back too. She told so many lies, about me, about our marriage, that once the truth started leaking, they didn't know what to believe. And just like that, her world got very, very small. Meanwhile, mine got bigger. I moved into a downtown apartment. Nothing flashy. Just clean, modern, quiet. I hired a financial advisor. Started donating to causes I cared about. Took a trip out west, solo. Stood at the edge of a canyon one morning and felt, for the first time in a long time, still. I wasn't angry anymore. Just done. About a month after the cabin, Claire asked to meet in person. Amanda said I didn't have to. Legally, everything was handled. The divorce was moving fast. She'd already agreed to the terms, probably figured she had no shot in court. But I said yes anyway. We met at a quiet cafe on a Wednesday. She looked different, smaller, hollow, like the version of herself she'd played so confidently had been burned away, and now all that was left was what remained underneath. She sat down slowly, hands shaking. "I just wanted to say sorry," she said. "I know it's too late. I know I don't deserve forgiveness. But I need you to know I wasn't trying to hurt you." I let her talk. She cried, told me she got caught up in a fantasy, that she felt invisible after I got successful, that she didn't know how to handle the shift, that Ethan made her feel seen. She said all the things guilty people say after they lose. I nodded, let her finish. Then I said one thing. "You didn't lose me because you cheated. You lost me because you lied while pretending to love me." She started crying again. But I didn't comfort her. I stood up, left enough cash to cover both our drinks, and walked out. And just like that, I closed the chapter. No revenge left to take. No more words to say. Just a man moving on from a woman who thought he'd never wake up. 6 months later, the divorce was finalized. It took just 20 minutes in court. Claire didn't even show up in person. She signed the papers remotely. Amanda handled everything. Clean, swift. No appeals, no fights. Just a silent agreement that there was nothing left to salvage. She got what she came into the marriage with. No more. I kept the company, the accounts, the new house she never got to see. And more than that, I kept my peace. It's strange how quickly life moves on. Some mornings I still wake up expecting to hear her in the kitchen, humming to herself, scrambling eggs like she used to. Then I remember, it's just me now. And that's okay. I've filled the silence with new things. A dog I rescued from a shelter. His name's Baxter. Real needy, real loud, and way too big for an apartment. But he makes the place feel less empty. I started running, joined a hiking group, met new people. Nothing serious yet, just human connection. No masks, no games. It feels good. Claire, from what I hear, moved in with her sister for a while. Picked up extra shifts at the hospital. Mallory told me she hasn't dated since Ethan, and honestly, I don't think she will for a long time. Sometimes, when people fall, they land soft. Claire didn't, and I'm not happy about that, not really. But I'm not sad either. One night, a few weeks ago, I found an old photo tucked into the back of a drawer while unpacking boxes from storage. It was us, maybe 3 years into the marriage. On a beach. She's got her arms around my neck. I'm squinting into the sun, grinning like an idiot. I almost threw it away, but I didn't. I put it in a small box of memories I keep, not because I want to revisit them, but because I need to remember where I've been. How far I've come. What blind love can cost. You know, people always ask, what would you do if someone cheated on you? Most say they'd leave, burn it all down, get revenge. But real life's not that simple. Real betrayal doesn't come with closure, it comes with weight. Quiet, shadows, slow, painful awareness that the person sleeping next to you isn't the one you thought they were. And that's what stays with you. Not the anger, the grief. Still, with time, even that softens. The last time I saw Claire, in that cafe, I told myself that was it. And it was. No late-night texts. No, I miss you. No drunk voicemails. She disappeared from my life just as fast as she left our marriage. And now, here I am. 38 years old, divorced, starting over, but free, not broken, just awake. And if there's one thing I learned, it's this. Sometimes, the best revenge isn't destroying someone back. It's letting them go, and never looking over your shoulder again.